it is extremely important how we behave as leaders and what we tolerate as leaders, because we want bigger goals. But if the day-to-day, the little things today do not count towards those goals, it is very challenging for us to meet those goals. And that's how another year goes by. And, the time keeps moving, but our systems, our businesses are just the same. We're producing the same, or our growth is very little. It doesn't have that momentum because we're not setting the right processes in place.
A tip that might be helpful, and it's not too hard to do, but many people don't do it, is just grab a Google sheet or Excel sheet and write down every single person you have in your organization and what they do. You'll be surprised to know how many owners don't really know what their employees do on a daily basis. And it is important for you as an owner, but also for your team to know what each person does.
Welcome to the Throne of Wealth, the podcast that empowers you to reign over your financial future. Each episode brings you tax strategies, wealth building insights, and stories from inspiring entrepreneurs. Each episode brings you tax strategies, wealth building insights, and stories from inspiring entrepreneurs. The Throne of Wealth is brought to you by King of Kings Accounting Firm, where financial challenges become opportunities for growth. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of The Turn of Wealth. And today we have a guest speaker with us, Giselle Delgado. Is an operations and quality management consultant in the city of Atlanta, known for helping businesses streamline processes and strengthen their teams. Giselle, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
It is such a pleasure. I was telling, we were talking about off the podcast today, and a little bit about your story and what led you to now help business owners, grow their teams, grow their operations, and do all the fun part, right? That for some people, for some business owners out there, they think it's just magical. But how did you get started, Giselle, and what led to your career today?
Absolutely. So yeah, you're right. It is not magical. I started by actually working at the Coca-Cola company in Atlanta as a chemist. I have a master's in biochemistry, and I worked there for about 4 years. And I learned a lot. I learned about systems, procedures, quality assurance. And then I started working with a law firm, and I noticed that a lot of the things that we did in the lab, as far as systems, procedures, and all that, they didn't really do it in the office, right? So I took the opportunity to implement some of those system procedures and trainings in order for the work that we produce to be high quality work and with the standards that we needed and we wanted. So, and that worked really well. I worked there for 10 years. And after doing that, I decided that I wanted to help more businesses get into this habit of having documents and procedures in place.
When you talk about systems, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a small business owner. I've been working with law firm owners for over 20 years. But every time I hear someone talk about systems, I'm just like, what do they mean? So I know that there are many, many of our law firm clients and our listeners out there are law firm owners. But let's break it down a little bit more in those nice, juicy details that I call it, right? So let's break it down. What is the importance of having the right systems and processes in place?
Well, to me, the main reason is if somebody is out sick, whatever it is, on vacation, then the office should continue running, right? So if you don't have anything documented, if you don't have something in writing that somebody else can pick up, if somebody's out, then the office will suffer. The clients will not get served the way they deserve. And, you can be in big trouble if you're not able to deliver what you said you were. So to me, that's the main reason. It's more of a risk management approach that I use to make sure that things will always be running and working independently on who is actually there.
Yeah. So, when you said, to reduce inefficiency, if somebody is out, I put it here, reduce the headaches, right? So it's like I was telling one of the clients yesterday, they were coming on a call with me, and they're like, I didn't have it on the right calendar, and I'm like, do you have a calendar policy and procedure how your meeting should be calendared? Should they be in the main master calendar? Or should be there in your personal calendar?
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us, tell our audience, Giselle, more a little bit about that experience. I would say about those scenarios that you have seen the difference. So you implemented a process, the right systems in place, the right training for the team, and how the organization just took off.
Yes. So I can give you an example of a client that she is amazing. She's an attorney and she didn't have anything documented. What she did when she onboarded somebody new to her team, she would just meet with them and tell them what to do. Just tell them. There's no document, no procedure, nothing. And she had a really big turnover on people because they didn't meet her expectations. But her expectations were verbal, and often that people didn't really understand it. They assumed things, or they didn't ask clarifying questions. They didn't have a document to go by. So she was having that issue. When I came in, we created a whole procedure on how to onboard people into her firm. Documented. It was very, very methodical, and everybody gets treated the same way. She doesn't get to just, talk to someone with this week and then next week she doesn't talk to them. No, everything is super procedural based. And now she doubled the amount of people she has, and she's been able to retain them, and they're working doing the same things with the same quality standard because they have things to go by that are documented, and they can all work at the same time in the same things. So that's just a small example of, just having the right procedures in place and workflows can really help you grow your firm and can reduce headaches at the end.
Yeah. As you were explaining that, I was just remembering back in the day. This was back in 08, Giselle, and 2010. Back in those days, I remember when I first started my career. The attorneys that I work with, and the managing attorneys will come and say, we need these pleadings. We have this case, or we have this trial going on. Do the opening and closing statement, and sometimes the numerous templates that they had from different cases. You just get to pick one, and sometimes could be the most recent one, the old one, or the one that somebody at some point sent and saved as a draft as a not usable, but you just don't know. And you're just doing what you're told. Do me a draft, do these pleadings. And so how having the right processes in place, have consistency on using the same templates, same letterheads, same style of font. Some people use it and they love, certain fonts, certain size. Other people like these big titles, nowadays people become creative. I was looking at, someone sent me a letter the other day, and I was like, geez, this is somebody that it's definitely new in this company, and they're definitely using their creativity. So in the title, there was bold, it was highlighted with purple, and it was 14. And so I've been working with this client. So I definitely know that it was not the client, but having the right, obviously, you're sending it to your accounting firm, right? You're not sending it to court or anybody else for that matter. But now let's go deeper, right? When you send what documents are being submitted with court or other entities, when you don't have the right processes in place.
Yeah. So one of the things I encourage people to do, at least you have to review your systems and procedures and documents once a year, at least, because what happens is people they say, okay, I'm going to create the system. I wrote it down. People follow it. They don't train people. They don't review the document. They don't improve the document, and they don't put expectations or rules around the document. So they might have several people that can edit the document at the same time. They can have several people who can just duplicate it and just add it in there, right? So you need to be very organized. And what I usually do for my clients is a library with all the procedures, all the templates, everything in one place. So that way everyone goes to that one place. So they use that one procedure. It's not that they're going to be able to use something that's in their desktop or in a document, in a paper. No, everybody goes to the same place. And this reduces what you're saying, that people sometimes are using 2-3 different versions of the same document, and you don't even know which one is the right one. And what happens is that the results that you give to your clients can vary because you're doing different things for the clients instead of the consistent thing, the one that gives the best results. So that's the main thing, like keeping everything as streamlined as possible in one place. That really yields the best results.
Giselle, what would be some of those tips that you would give our law firm owners out there that are listening to this podcast today about training their team? How should as a law firm owner, with either plus than 10 or you have less than 10 employees, how should I train my employees, my team members?
Okay, so that's a great question. And this is something that a lot of people just don't have the patience to do. And when you train someone, people think that just with one training is good to go, right? Like, oh, just watch this video or just sit down with them and train them. That's not the way training someone goes. The first thing, sure, is to give them the procedure, the video, whatever you have documented so that they can read it. And then they get to ask you questions. They get to say, okay, I don't understand this part. Can you give me more, insight on how this gets done? And then after that, I always test their skills. So this can be tested by giving them, for example, if it's an attorney and you're training them on how to do something specific, just give them 3 assignments for that same procedure and have them turn it into you and check their work, see how they did it, give them feedback, help them understand like how to do it better next time. And when they can do it consistently at least 3 times, then you can delegate something to them. What happens is we're so busy and we need help right now. We just tell them, here it is, you do it, I don't have time. And then they don't meet your expectations because you were not able to let them actually try it out, get actually trained by you giving them feedback. And then they're doing it repeatedly enough that they're good to go and they can do it on their own.
And that's when we see that organizations have multiple versions of what the system or the culture should look like. Giselle, not having the right processes in place, I oftentimes results into not having the right culture. The standards, the core values of the owner. People starts to tolerate things that they're not okay with and it go against their standards. I was having this conversation with one of our clients, a law firm owner, this morning, and in the conversation, it came out, and I said, sometimes we are what we tolerate.
Yeah.
And that goes against a lot of people's point of view or beliefs or standards. But it's crazy because if you tolerate this type of culture, your culture and the firm will be chaotic, will be something that it's more reactive, and you're like a fighter with fires all the time. So let's give our audience today, because I was reading, your biography and your background experience. So let's give our audience today, for those listeners out there, a couple of tips, right? If they're right now in their business and they feel like they're a fighter every morning, that they plan their day, it doesn't go accordingly. You come to the office, your receptionist, your paralegal, case manager comes about and just says, do you have 5 minutes? And in those 5 minutes, it's like, well, this client just called upset, or, we just got a case that got called into trial, and then your calendar doesn't align to things. And then, the vendor just email or send this and they need this from you. All of these unpredictabilities that you see on a day-to-day basis because we don't have the right processes, the right systems in place. And this increases stress, right? This affects our personal health. So how do we reduce that? By having the right processes in place, by setting up the right trainings to our team, and creating the business by design, like I call it, right? Let's live a life of purpose by design, not by given. Because if not, if I'm just reactive, I'm getting a business that is just been thrown at me instead of me designing the life that I want.
Yeah, no, one of the things that I tell people is that change with operations and things like this, you're not gonna see it, overnight. This is an ongoing thing. This is something that will take time, but you need to start somewhere. So business owners are very overwhelmed, as you mentioned, right? They get like, there's a lot of fires that they need to put out. There's clients that might be upset. There's a court that might be calling. There's just so much going on. And I think that the best way to approach this is to just take one thing at a time, like, and make it a habit. So, and I usually say lead by example and not position. You could be, whoever it is in your company, but you should lead by how you behave yourself. So if you're the leader and you want people to be organized, you need to start being organized.
Amen.
Right? If you want people to follow the rules, you need to follow the rules. Like I've seen so many companies where they expect so much out of people, but they cannot even do it themselves. So how is that possible? So even from the interview, when I interview someone, even for my own company, I tell them, these are my values. This is what I look for. These are my non-negotiables. And, you tell me if this is something that you're willing to behave as when you work for me, right? Like these are the core things I want to make sure. For example, that clients get responded within 24 hours. This is something that, you can be held accountable for. And you set your standards, set your expectations from the very beginning. Now, the other side of the coin is, well, what if you already have people that have been working with you for so long and they're so used to doing the things the old way? It is very hard. It is really hard to change people that have been doing the same thing for so long. But that's okay. We can still do it. Just have a meeting with them and tell them why it is important for us to change. Like, what are the things that are currently happening that are just not up to your standards and are not working, are not helping us grow as a company, and it's not going to help them to grow as individuals either. So, and then put a plan in place where you little by little, you start working on certain things and setting standards and training your team. That's the only way out of it. There's no quick way. It literally is setting expectations within yourself and your company and then starting to work on them.
Yeah, I think it's like, like you said, setting those non-negotiables. One of the things that I tell people when I interview, list it out in the job description, right? If you're planning to hire more like for a seniority role, then lay it out. If you don't have this experience, please don't apply. If you don't have, this kind of, behaviors, or you're not okay with this, is our company's fast growing company, right? So you will be asked to shift, to grow, or to do these things. You lay it out in the job description from the beginning, from the post that it's, you're doing in LinkedIn or any other platforms, looking for those professionals that are going to come in your organization. One of the things that you mentioned earlier, and in our conversation here, and I want us to leave our platform owners out there, is that you said, right, having the metrics in place, having the right KPIs, the right things that we measure every day. This morning, I already had a couple of conversations. It's early still in the morning, but one of my conversations was all about, how do I set up the right targets? And so that goes back into the standards that you said, Giselle, those non-negotiable. Because, for example, right, I have a goal for Q1. Q1 is soon to end. And how do I measure my Q1, my 30 days milestones? What are going to be those 30 days in order for me to meet my 90 days goals, right? And what are going to be those tasks in a weekly basis that they have to be completed as non-negotiables? And what are going to be the daily traits and to-dos and behaviors that I have to do in order for me to be able to see my results in 90 days? So, it is extremely important how we behave as leaders and what we tolerate as leaders, because we want bigger goals. But if the day-to-day, the little things today do not count towards those goals, it is very challenging for us to meet those goals. And that's how another year goes by and another year goes by. And, the time keeps moving, but our systems, our businesses are just the same. We're producing the same, or our growth is very little. it doesn't have that momentum because we're not setting the right processes in place. And in our team, like you're saying, we're constantly having to chase the next candidate, and it's really expensive to be doing that. So Giselle, before we end our podcast today, I would like for you to leave our platform owners and our business owners out there. They have no systems in place, or they might have systems in place that they haven't updated in the last year, right? As you mentioned, we should update in yearly at least, if not sooner, especially with AI now. Jesus Christ, so many things and softwares that we're going to be adding to our organizations, right? We got to keep up with the rhythm of how everything is moving so fast. Let's leave our audience with some tips, with some things that they can take, meditate, and probably put into place in their organizations. And then, before we wrap up, if you can tell everyone how can they find you and they get in contact with you if they want to know more about how setting up the right systems in place.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I would say the first a tip that might be helpful, and it's not too hard to do, but many people don't do it, is just grab a Google sheet or Excel sheet and write down every single person you have in your organization and what they do. You'll be surprised to know how many owners don't really know what their employees do on a daily basis. And it is important for you as an owner, but also for your team to know what each person does. Because with that list, you can do so much. You can set KPIs so you can, measure their performance. You can actually see which documents, which procedures I need to create, because now I see all the things they're doing, but I haven't told them how to do it. I haven't documented how to perform those tasks. So that's the most basic thing. And you can do so much with that list. And it's really not hard to do. And if you have a COO or an office manager, they can also be helpful in doing that for you. So you can evaluate your office that way. So, and then as far as contacting me, you can always reach me out. My email, Giselle@businessoperationsLab.com, or you can search me. I have my website, businessoperationsLab.com. And yeah, you can send me an email or set a consultation with me. It's free. So be more than happy to chat with all of you.
I like the name of your business, Giselle, Business Lab.
Yeah.
So we're diagnosing the business here, business owners, and we're trying to understand what metrics you need in place, right? And what procedures you need to update. And let's take our business to the next level, right? 2026 is a year of abundance, of many opportunities. So we got to stop doing, if we want different results, we have to stop doing, just the same thing as we did previous years, right? We got to do something different to have different results. Thank you to all of our listeners. The links in the information will also be in the notes here in the podcast, so you can contact Giselle if you have more questions about setting up the right processes in place. Thank you, Giselle.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here with you.
Thanks for listening to The Throne of Wealth. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review to help others find the show. A special thanks to our sponsor, King of Kings Accounting Firm, dedicated to helping you build and protect wealth for generations. Until next time, take the reins of your financial future and lead with confidence.